Hi, welcome to Team PI Pokemon's channel, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the deck that I successfully ran at 2 League Cups. The 2 League Cups were Northampton and Manchester League Cup. Northampton took place the weekend before this weekend, and Manchester's League Cup took place yesterday. And pleased to say that I actually managed to pilot this deck to two first places. So I managed to secure 100 championship points, which I'm really pleased about. The deck that I ran is a slight variant from the usual Vikavolt Tapu Bulu decks that are circulating around. I'd like to share the deck with you, and I'd like to also talk about some of the choices that I made in the deck in order to put it in a very prominent position within the current metagame. So the current metagame is right up to Crimson Invasion. We're going to start off with the 3 Tapu Bulu GX. So Horn Attack for 30 is amazing, just as a first attack, just to pick off 30. It's great for picking off an early 30 against an early GX, for example, Gardevoir GX. If it's just at a Volt stage, just getting that first 30 on there is really essential. You can do 30 times 2, which is 60 on an opposing Rambraid, and it's just an all-round really good starting attack. Nature's Judgment is a fantastic attack. You may discard all energy from this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 60 more damage. So Nature's Judgment was pretty much the attack that I used time and time again. If I didn't want to discard the energies, I used Tapu Wilderness GX, more so than if I actually needed to heal myself. However, the healing was just an added advantage. So Tapu Wilderness GX, 150, heal all damage from this Pokemon. You can't use more than one GX attack in a game. That was pretty much the GX attack that I used, but if I was using another GX attack, it would have been my opponent's, which, how do I do that? I'm just about to show you. So 3 Tapu Bulu GX totally maximises the chances that you have in order to start off with it. Next we have the engine of the deck. So we actually have 3 Vikavolts. So Vikavolt Strong Charge. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may search your deck for a Grass energy and a Lightning energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle your deck. More often than not, if I actually had 2 Vikavolts in play, what I would do is I would, if I needed to check, I would check with the first Strong Charge my deck, and then with the second one. Sometimes I would actually find that I ran into situations where I had too many lightning energies stuck in my prizes, so I would be able to use 2 strong charge to get two energies into play. Perhaps sometimes they were in my deck, in my discard pile. Sometimes they were actually in my starting hand. Or in my hand when I was actually playing, so it allowed me to play really conservatively. So those are the 3 Vikavolts. In order to get the 3 Vikavolts up, what I had to do is I had to get the Grubbins out. Grubbin was amazing. I kid you not. There was one game in Manchester that I actually took out a Greninja with a Grubbin, and actually managed to maul another Greninja. So what I actually did was I managed to get 2 energies on there for 20. Weakness is 40. I play Fighting Fury about, so 30 goes up to 60. The 30 was actually enough to knock out Greninja, an opposing Greninja, I believe, and the 60 was brilliant because it just set up a Greninja for a 2-hit KO. It was either a Greninja or it was a Frogadier, but either way, hitting that 60 damage on there meant that I was able to knock it out pretty easily with another attack that I had at the time. So Grubbin, definitely MVP number 1. And trying to get those up to the Vikavolt as quickly as possible is the key. I didn't play any Charger Bug, because the deck simply doesn't need it. I'd rather Rare Candy turn 1 into a Vikavolt, and general strategy really is make sure that if you're up against something like a Greninja, Greninja is actually quite prominent in my mind because I had to come across two Greninjas in the top 8 of Manchester. So I just tended to hold on to my second Grubbin. Sometimes with certain games, it's actually good to play with the two Grubbins on the bench, especially if you feel as though they're actually going to be picked off early. Other times you just want to keep a Grubbin because you want to keep that space for one of your Leles. So Lele decided to run 2 because you don't actually need 3. If you have 3, it's great to search the Lat supporter. However, I play 2 Bridget, so to secure the first turn Bridget, I just had the supporter and it was absolutely fine. My go-to draw was not artillery; it was actually Oranguru. So that was pretty amazing. I found that by turn 3 or 4, I would always have an Oranguru on the bench. I try and get it a little bit earlier if I actually felt that I was getting a lot of early KOs, or if I needed to put early pressure, for example, against Zorak GXs. Tapu Koko was great. It wasn't actually something that I used every single match. But when I did use it, I used it for its free retreat cost, which is amazing, and also just to put early pressure, because inevitably, if you're up against something like a Golisopod deck or a Gardevoir deck, you're really pressuring them into starting to attack. And I like decks that actually force my opponent into attacking, because then I can retaliate and I can take control over the board. So Tapu Koko was really, really good. Helped me win definitely I think my first game when I was playing up against Turtonator Ho-Ho deck in Manchester. It was brilliant because Electro Ball just one-hit KOs and Ho-Ho. There was a huge amount of Fire, Volcanion, Turtonator, Ho-Ho decks as well, so that was really, really useful. Okay, so the first little split spice is Mew. I didn't actually use Mew against a Buzzwole deck that I was playing against, but it just goes to show how good this deck is actually in that matchup. But if I actually used Mew and I commented to my opponent straight afterwards, it would just been like a really, really easy an easy round. I think I just had round fatigue then, but Mew is brilliant because you can just completely force that match into that game into a 7 card exchange, prize exchange. So loved using Mew. And it's got a great free retreat. There was a couple of times where I used Encounter to find a Vikavolt and kind of threaten or make out that I did actually have the rare candy to bait the end. Finally, this was the best card that I had in my deck. It's not just because I love Clefairies. Absolutely not. But I cannot understate how really, really important this card was. It just won me so many matches. Metronoming my opponent's Golisopod attacks to win me the game, to win me the finals at Northampton. And also, it was just absolutely amazing when I was playing it at Manchester. I just used it virtually every single match as well to copy and to threaten. It's not just for Guardy, it is for every single matchup. So my supporter lineup is 3 Skylar, 2 Bridget. Skylar's amazing because you're able to get all of your pieces. I can't think of any moment where you can't really use Skylar, and sometimes what I was doing is I was chaining Skylar for Skylar as well, just to thin my deck. 2 Bridget to get your basics, 2 Gizmo, 2 N, and some people would question why I play 2 N. The reason why is because I've got hand denial in the form of Shauna, so that is effectively my 3rd N. Shauna was really, really good as well because you really secure that early 5. It's not very good. It's not very useful when you're taking early prizes with an aggressive deck like Vikavolt Tapu Bulu, to actually rely on N to help clear things up right at the end. I have a Lily in here, and the Lily I couldn't really cut. I couldn't really find any good reason to cut it. It's just like your absolute insurance, just in case every single thing goes wrong in that first turn. You're ultra balling and you want to try and draw into something major, you could actually use the Lily. So I suppose if there is a cut that could be made or a change, it would actually be a Lily. But I just simply cannot find anything better for it. And Lily just is amazing, especially if you get end late game. Gladion. So I played Gladion. The reason why I played Gladion is because we tested this extensively, and we actually figured that we could just live with just one energy recycler if we were able to play Gladion. Now, to swing the Guardy matches, we really also ran Professor Cuckoo, but it just didn't turn out to be as good as it should be, especially when you weren't playing against Guardy. And I just had a real think about it, and I decided to go with Giovanni's scheme, and it was the best decision that I could have ever made on this deck, because it kind of turned the real pressure up against a lot of matches that weren't actually Guardy. So the Giovanni scheme, if you've forgotten, draw cards until you have 5 cards into your hand, which is great if you're being end. And you also have that extra 20, you have that choice of really, you could just choose whenever you want to, what kind of effect you want to have. It is just absolutely simply amazing. A lot of people quite skeptical about it, but those people who were actually watching and realised that it was just extremely powerful. So we have those. And then we've got the actual items themselves. So we've got 4 Ultra Ball. That's just absolute standard. You know, for this deck, you need to find your pieces. 4 Rare Candy, because you want to try and get that turn 1 Vikavolt as quickly as possible. 2 Field Blower, which can actually turn to 3 if Garbatox and Garbodor picks up again. You've got the 1 Energy Recycle, which is enough. That's all you need. 2 Heavy Ball. I have thought about Nest Balls, but 2 Heavy Ball is just absolutely fine. Great to find your Vikavolts, great to find your Tapu Bulus if you want to thin your deck. If you just want to search, for anything, just find out what's in your deck. If you've forgotten, absolutely fine. Choice Bands, I went for 3 Choice Bands. I went also for 2 Fighting Fury Belts. I think that's the perfect mix, although this deck can actually run with 4 Choice Bands, but you'd be brave to just not run any Fighting Fury Belt, because it's great in the mirror, and I had to play mirror in top 4 of Manchester. Finishing off with 7 Grass Energy, and also 5 Lightning Energies as well. So I think 5 is great, it's the ideal number. I don't think you can actually go below there, because otherwise what happens is it puts extra pressure on your recycler. I've seen people play more recycler and less lightning, but I actually really do like that extra. The only thing I don't like is starting off with a lightning, but if I had to cut a lightning, I would actually cut a lightning for an extra grass energy, but I haven't tested that yet. It's something that I'm seriously thinking. And last of all, this was absolutely brilliant. If your opponent doesn't have enhanced armor, you can just kick off a Clefairy just any time whatsoever. So double colourless in there. A couple of shout outs. I'd like to thank John Roberts II for helping inspire us to play test this deck. Summer loves it, and I just took over from Summer's training of this deck. I just did a couple of twists. The twist that I initially did for Northampton was I actually dropped the Fighting Fury belts, went with 4 Choice Band, and I put a Giratina. But then watching some of the videos that Seagrove has made, and listening to John Roberts' analysis of Greninja, I took the option of actually dropping the Giratina, and if you play it well, you should be okay with that matchup. I lost no actual official games against Greninja, but I did play a fun game, and I lost that one. So it can still be very, very difficult. So yeah.